Conscience Guide Team by Sheepdog and Shepherd.
Conscience Guide Team 9.5. Death by 1,000 cuts.
Hey, Shepherd, I think I need a bandage. I was running so hard and so fast, I think I cut my paw on something.
Although one may not prove fatal, many will cause a slow, painful death. I am referring to death by 1,000 cuts. The idiom, death by 1,000 cuts, serves to illustrate the result of abandoning one's innate moral code and ignoring the promptings of one's conscience. One does not wake up one morning and decide to commit murder or adultery, steal, or engage in defamation. These acts originate in the seat of the emotions, where left unchecked by the conscience, they fester full-blown into a putrid infection of the mind and soul. As a result, one's entire being consumes its energy on violence, lying, cheating, stealing, lusting, and coveting. Cut by cut, vices replace virtues, depravity replaces decency, mendacity replaces integrity. Therefore, it is essential to understand the role and function of conscience and its relationship to the innate moral code resident in everyone. Obligation represents the signature characteristic of our conscience. Obligation manifests itself when we feel we ought to do something or ought not to do something. It is essential to distinguish between our innate moral code and political ideologies. Our innate moral code always points true north. In contrast, the sand dunes in a wind-swept desert may be relied upon with greater certainty than a political ideology. When individuals and institutions ignore the promptings of their conscience to do what is right and avoid doing what is wrong, they die a death of 1,000 cuts. Just as specialists in forensic medicine and pathology examine the location of the cut, the angle of the cut, the penetration of the cut, and the number of cuts to ascertain the identity of a murderer, our conscience examines our actions to ascertain if we are dying a death of 1,000 cuts. Since the emergence of COVID-19, the talking point of trust the science dominates the news media. Strangely enough, the word conscience consists of the prefix con, meaning with, and the word science, meaning what is known. The study of etymology further contributes to the understanding of conscience by suggesting that the origin of the word science includes the sense of separating one thing from another, that is, cutting, dividing, and splitting. What would happen if individuals and institutions trusted their conscience and followed their innate moral code? What would happen if individuals and institutions engaged in the process of cutting to ascertain right from wrong in decision-making? Would such cutting prior to decision-making prevent them from dying a death by 1,000 cuts? What say you? Do you trust your conscience? Do you engage in the process of cutting prior to decision-making to ascertain right from wrong? Or is your soul dying a death of 1,000 cuts? If so, it's not too late. I know of a physician who specializes in bandaging those cuts once and for all.
Special acknowledgement to our references.
Special thanks to voiceover artist Cynthia and Todd and content consultant Ed.
Thank you for watching our presentation on matters pertaining to conscience. Please subscribe and offer your comments. Produced by Sheepdog and Shepherd, aka M. Gilbert Steiner, author of Short Man of Nuremberg.